Anyone? What is the use of Terraform?
Yes, so basically it's used in creating our infra.
Yes. So simple. If you ask me, yeah, using Terraform, you can able to create a infrastructure using a code. Nothing but infrastructure as a code. So this tool will call it as infrastructure as a code. Nothing but we are writing a code to create a infrastructure. That is the meaning. What infrastructure? Whatever you create in AWS, everything we call it as infrastructure. Okay. Now let's come back to our slides. So today will be the Terraform day 1. Okay, what is the need of infrastructure? So in the CI/CD pipeline, so we already, you know, right, CI/CD pipeline, we need to create various test environments according to organization policy. Okay. Okay, according to your organizations, you need to create some testing environments. So to create test environments, we might also need to create a virtual infrastructure on the cloud or in the hypervisor. So what is this virtual infrastructure? You are going to learn. So to automate this infrastructure creation, so I know I don't want to create this infrastructure manually, I want to automate it. So we need some kind of tool, and these tools are called as infra provisioning tools. Okay, that will call it as infra provisioning tool. So depending upon the infrastructure used in the organization, we will have different tools which can help us in automating infrastructure creation. So in the market there are multiple tools are available. With the tools we can able to automate it. That's it. Okay, so normally let's check how you can able to create, like what is the steps of infra creation. Okay, for AWS we have a cloud formation templates. Okay, using this cloud formation template you can create infrastructure by writing a code. Azure also have a ARM templates, right? VMware has a VMware SDK. Like that, Google Cloud also have some their own tool. So if I want to create any infrastructure using code, I can write a cloud formation templates. In Azure I can use a ARM templates. It is JSON format. This is also a JSON format. So you need to write the template, and you can directly create any infra in AWS cloud. Okay, so to solve this problem, an organization called as HashiCorp has came up with a tool called as Terraform, which can work in multi infra providers. If you see, so for AWS, as I told, there is a cloud formation. For Azure there is a ARM template, right? For VMware there is a VMware SDK. Why Terraform? Because Terraform will support all providers. That's the beauty of this Terraform. So if you learn Terraform, you don't need to learn all this. So if you know Terraform, you can work with any cloud. So that's the problem Terraform was solved. So for, like, for suppose if you join the company, if the company is using 10 clouds, then you need to learn 10 cloud specific tools to automate it. So you don't need to do that. To solve this problem, an organization called as HashiCorp has came up with a tool called as Terraform, right? If you're not talking, you can mute yourself, which can work with multi infra providers, right? I told you, right? You need to just interact with Terraform will create, even if you are company working on multiple clouds, if you know Terraform, you can create any infra on any cloud. So how to create this infra, that is the secondary. But in the interview, if they ask what is the use of Terraform, why only Terraform, I have cloud formation, right, for AWS, right? I have ARM template for Azure, why I need to go with Terraform? They will going to ask you like this. So Terraform is a multi provider tool, right? Terraform supports multiple providers. So using Terraform we can able to create in any cloud. If you want to create in AWS, yeah, there is a cloud formation template, but it's a only supports for AWS. Cloud formation right, supports only for AWS. Within AWS you can able to create. If I want to create on Azure, I cannot able to create with cloud formation template. So that's the reason Terraform is a clear winner here. So before discussing this Terraform and all, we need to discuss about this procedural versus declarative. So if there is, first I will discuss the real life example. So if there is a team lead and there is a work, so for a fresher you need to explain everything, right? For experienced person you don't need to do. So for fresher you need to tell how it has to be done. For experienced person, what has to be done, right? He just tell, hey, this is the work. Then experienced person easily do it. He will not ask any questions. He will complete the task and he will come back. But fresher, he will ask everything, every doubt. In the same way, in the automation also, whenever you're doing any automations, there will be two types of automations. One is procedural, another one was declarative. In the procedural you need to tell everything, okay? In declarative you no need to tell everything. You just tell, hey, go and create server. In declarative it will go and create the server. In procedural you need to tell, hey, go to this, select this, select this, select this, then create this. So this is the hectic process, procedural. So using Terraform we would use declarative approach to specify what are our infrastructure needs. Nothing but Terraform is a very smart tool and it's a declarative tool, and we will call it as infrastructure as a code, IAC tool. What is IAC, they might ask. What is infrastructure as a code? In the interview they will ask definitely, right? Whatever we are going to create, we are using a code to create. That's it. I told you, right, what do and how, like what you want, everything we need to tell in the fresher. For experienced, just you need to tell what you want. So here bash scripting, PowerShell scripting, everything will comes under procedural. Terraform is declarative. So what is the workflow of Terraform? This is very important. In every interview they will ask, right? As a DevOps engineer you will create some configuration files, right? Using Terraform you will apply and you will deploy it into the multi-cloud, right? So Terraform is cloud agonist. I told you, right? Cloud agonist, nothing but it will work with any cloud, right? Because deploy to any cloud or virtual infrastructure, right? So I told you, right, you need to write some configuration files, and Terraform has a providers. I told you, right? For AWS there is a AWS provider, for Azure there is a Azure provider, and using API. So in the backend how Terraform will work? Terraform will use this provider, and using API calls it will create a deployments in the target servers. It may be AWS or it may be Azure. If you don't understand, don't worry, try to watch the recording again. So Terraform integrates with different clouds through Terraform providers. This is the definition. How Terraform communicates with AWS in the backend. If in the interview if they ask whatever the configuration files we have written in the backend, Terraform will use a providers. Terraform has a concept called as providers. Using that providers it will communicate. So in depth if you want, it will use API. Back in the backend it will use API. Through API calls it will deploy the resources in the cloud. So installing Terraform. Terraform is an open source project developed in Google's Go language. Okay, in which language Terraform was developed? It's a Go language. So installing Terraform is much like downloading an executable on your system, adding it to the path variable and using it. So Mac users you need to install Homebrew. Windows user you need to install Chocolatey. Okay. Terraform terminologies. I told you, right, provider. This specifies Terraform way to create infrastructure. So I told you Terraform supports multiple clouds. So first Terraform should know, right, on which cloud you need to create. So that is the provider. You need to specify in the provider. So resources are the core elements of your infrastructure. Nothing but what the resources you are going to create. The inputs which we specified about the resources are called arguments. So I will definitely going to ask what is arguments, right? What is attributes in future? Okay, then you need to answer. The inputs which you specify about the resource are called as argument. This is very important. In the interview they are asking. For me, I also faced this. So that's the reason I am telling you the inputs which you specify about resources are called arguments. So when we create resources using Terraform, they specify some outputs of the resources which are called as attributes. What are the inputs you passed? That is a argument. Whenever you apply the resources, right, using Terraform, you will get a output that is called as attributes. So data source, this is also very important, and every interview they will ask. This helps us in querying information about resources from Terraform configuration. So nothing but it will collect some information. Okay, it will query information about resources. Resources nothing but from AWS cloud, from Azure cloud, whatever it may be. So writing a Terraform configuration file. So this is the basic configuration file structure. So we need to specify the provider. I told you right, first you need to specify the provider. What is the syntax? This is the provider, name of your provider, right? I told you right, you will pass the input. What are the inputs you are providing? It's called as argument, yes, and the value, argument and the value. So we need to find the right resource from the provider. Okay, whatever you want to create, that call it as resource, resource type and the resource name, argument value. So is there any confusion? No, right? You will give the provider and the name of your provider, argument 1, argument 2. What is argument? Anyone? What is an argument?
Input.
Yes, whatever you give input, that is an argument. So we need to find right resources from the provider, right? You have given the provider AWS. In the AWS, what you want to create, whether you want to create a S3 bucket, what you want to create exactly, that you will define in the resource. Okay, I want to create a S3 bucket in AWS cloud. Okay, so if you see provider AWS, so in the AWS there will be regions. On which region you want to create this S3 bucket? Don't worry if you are confusing with region. Tomorrow I will explain what is this region and all. Okay, you don't need to worry. Today's was just focus. I will create some S3 bucket in AWS. How I am going to create, I will show that. You no need to worry if you don't know. Okay, and the resource AWS underscore S3 bucket and my bucket name and my bucket. I told you that argument and the value. My bucket. This is the resource. This is the resource name and this is the bucket name. Don't confuse. For every resource you will be having a name, and this is the bucket name. So whenever I create a bucket, what is the name of my bucket and whether that bucket is public or private. Don't confuse what is this S3 bucket. I will explain. So create an S3 bucket in AWS cloud. Manual steps. Log in into AWS console, search for S3 and create bucket. So I will create manually. Okay, before doing any automations, you need to know how to do it manually, right? Even if you have a apartment, 10th floor apartment, if you don't know how to go with steps, obviously first you should know how to go with steps, then only you need to go under elevator, right? Approach in Terraform, this is the manual steps. Okay, you know how you will approach in Terraform. So you need to find the provider, Google Terraform AWS provider, then you will get it. So Terraform workflow. Okay, I told whenever you use Terraform init, right, it will download the provider. This is the Terraform workflow. Okay, using Terraform you will apply it. It will creates and update the infrastructure. Using Terraform destroy, it will destroy the infrastructure. So using Terraform init, it will download the provider plugins. Okay, using Terraform apply, it will create the infra. Using Terraform destroy, it will destroy the infra.
ఇది గుర్తుపెట్టుకో, తర్వాత మాట్లాడుకుందాం. ఇది గుర్తుపెట్టుకో, తర్వాత మాట్లాడుకుందాం.
So the meaning of it, remember this, we will talk about this later. Okay, just remember, using Terraform apply, you will create the infra. Using Terraform destroy, you will delete the infra. So this thing just try to remember. We are going to discuss it again later. So create an S3 bucket in AWS cloud. first you will create a new folder and create an empty file called as main.tf. I told you that Terraform will be in the format of .tf files. Okay, so open this folder with Visual Studio Code. Okay, install Terraform extension from HashiCorp. So in your Windows system, right, if you don't have a Visual Studio Code, download it and try to search for Terraform. Okay, you will get HashiCorp Terraform. So try to download that plugin. So it will help you to write the Terraform code. That's it, not more than that. So you need to install AWS CLI. So in order to install AWS CLI in your Windows system, this is the command: choco install AWS CLI. In the Mac, it's a brew install. So you need to create a IAM authentication. Okay, then you need to execute AWS configure and enter your secret access key and access key. I will show you practically, don't worry. So after configuring credentials, execute Terraform init to download the provider configured. Okay, so now let's check for the validate of the configuration which we have written. So whatever the Terraform code, if you want to check whether it is correct or not, we will use validate. So after configuring credentials, execute Terraform init to download the providers. Okay, Terraform init, it will initialize the backend, it will download the provider plugins. Okay, now let's check validate. Terraform validate will check the code whether whatever the code you have written, it is correct or not. So now try to create the resources by executing Terraform apply. So this is the resource, AWS S3 bucket name, right? What is my tags? Okay, you can add a tag for your bucket as well, name and environment. Okay, resource and bucket should be locked, ACL, and it will be private. So now try creating resources by executing Terraform apply, right? It will create the resources. Now check for the resources created or not. You can go and log into your AWS, then you can check bucket was created or not. So once the infra is created, let's execute Terraform apply again. So if you apply again, it will say refreshing state. So Terraform is idempotent. So that is when you run Terraform multiple times to create infrastructure, it will lead on same result. That is your desired state. Nothing but if the infra was already created, it will don't create again. That is called as idempotent. So if you are using calculator, right, if you enter 2 plus 2, what will you get? You will 4. So if you enter even 1000 times, you will get the same output. In the Terraform also, whenever you apply, if the infra is created, it will just refresh that, and if it is present, it will not create. So Terraform workflow, I told you that Terraform init, it will download the provider. Terraform validate, it will validate your configuration, right? Terraform apply, it will create the infrastructure. Okay, Terraform destroy, it will delete the infrastructure, right? This is very important. Terraform show, it will show the infra created. Okay, try to remember this, we will discuss again. Next step, what is this region, right? Everything we will discuss tomorrow. Okay, thank you. That's it for today. So shall I show you how to create this S3 bucket manually? I'm audible, right? Okay.
Yeah, you are.
So if you are new to this AWS, right? Rohini, do you have an account in AWS?
So, yes, I have an account.
Okay. Rohini.
I don't have, sir.
Okay. Try to create an account in AWS. Okay. So I will just search for S3. Okay. Scalable storage in the cloud. Nothing but, if you don't know what is this S3, treat this as a Google Drive. How we will be having a Google Drive for us to store anything I want. Okay, if I go to Google Drive, I have 15 GB of storage where I can keep whatever I want. Okay, this is my drive. Okay, I have 15 GB of storage. I can keep anything, any files, any photos, whatever I want, I can keep inside this Google Drive. In the same way, companies also use some type of Google Drive to store their company related information. That we will call it as S3 bucket. That's it. What is S3 full form? Do you know? S3, nothing but simple storage service. S 3 times, right? What is Amazon S3? Amazon simple storage service. Okay. Now I will click on S3. I will create an S3 bucket manually. Then after I will show how to create this S3 bucket using Terraform. Okay, create bucket. What is my bucket name? My TF DE and Stephen. Okay, so ACL should be enabled or disabled. So what is ACL? All objects in this bucket are owned by this account. Access to this bucket and its objects is specified using only policies. Okay, so you want to block all public access. If you want to block, you just need to check mark this. If you don't want to block, you need to remove this. Okay, I will just give block all public access. Do you want versioning? I will just leave it. Okay, I don't want to change any configuration. So encryption type, I want to leave it. Bucket key, I will just click on create bucket. So successfully created bucket my TF, right? My TF D is Stephen. Created or not? My bucket was created or not? So is there any confusion for creating a bucket? So yeah, Rohini, you know right how to create a bucket? Simple. Click on create bucket, give the bucket name. So do you want to enable or disable this ACL? You can do that. If you want to block it publicly, you can do it. Versioning, tags, encryption. If there is a advanced setting, object lock should be disabled or enabled. Okay, so like this you will create. So if you want to delete the bucket, what you will do? Just delete. I will give the name. So you know right how to create an S3 bucket. Is there any confusion? EC2, what is this EC2? Virtual servers in the cloud. So anyone, you don't have any confusion, right, in S3 bucket creation using manually. If you don't know how to create manually, then you cannot work with Terraform. You get it right how to create this S3 bucket using manually. Yes or
Yes.
no? Okay.
Yes.
I will create a new server, one new server in AWS cloud. I can do it with Windows system as well by installing Terraform. I will not do that. What I will do, I will create one dummy server. Okay, I will select Ubuntu 22.04 because in real time you are going to work with Linux servers. Okay, I will take T2 micro. Okay, if it is stuck, it will create a problem. I will take T2 medium. Last time I did the same mistake. T2 medium. I will choose the key pair called as EK8. Nothing but it is a password for this. Okay, if you don't know how to create this EC2 instance, so you can go and watch my Linux playlist. There I have explained everything clearly. So I want to allow all traffic, launch instance. Nothing but I am creating one laptop. How I have a laptop and with Windows, I am creating one more laptop in the cloud. Nothing but I am taking a laptop rent. I told you right in the childhood how we should take rent like this from AWS website. I'm taking a new laptop for a rent. Now I will just give a name as Terraform. So in order to work with Terraform, first what you need to have, you need to install AWS CLI. Okay, because if you want to communicate with AWS cloud, you need to have a AWS CLI, and you need to configure that AWS CLI credentials. Okay, let it create. I will show you step by step, don't worry. Okay, it is still creating. Let it create. So I don't know how to install Terraform. What I will do, I will just go Terraform installation. Okay, just Google it, install Terraform. You will get in the official documentation. I will just right click, open a new tab. Okay, install Terraform. You want to do manual or homebrew or chocolatey or Linux. So if you are using Windows, you can go with chocolatey. This is the command choco install Terraform. Terraform will be installed. Where you want to execute that, open a PowerShell as a administrator, and before that you need to install Terraform in your system. Note chocolatey and Terraform package, right? You need to install. Then just copy this command, you can paste this. That's it, your Terraform will be installed. No, I don't want to do it using Windows. Okay, I will go with Linux. So in the Linux, it is Ubuntu or CentOS or Fedora or Amazon Linux. It's an Ubuntu. So these are the steps, right? You need to update your system, you need to download some keys, you need to verify your key, and you need to add some information about your Terraform in the apt repository, update and install Terraform. That's it, simple. Okay, it's running. I will click on connect, login using a git bash. Git bash is a software which help us to log in into our new laptop. Windows doesn't support Linux commands. That's the reason I have downloaded a software called as Git. So I am inside this EC2 instance. Okay, now I will install Terraform. Okay, simply copy, paste. Okay, then after again copy, it will take some time. Let's maintain some patience. Okay, super. Now what are the key was I have downloaded, whether it is working or not, whether it is downloaded or not. If you want to verify the fingerprint, okay, you are getting right. Now you will get this output. Yeah, okay, we got it. Then I will add information about my Terraform in my sources.list. Okay, I've added. Then after update your packages. Okay, then after install the Terraform. Okay, any software in Linux, if you want to create, first you need to update your packages. Then after you need to copy, download any key, GPG key related to the software. Okay, if you want to verify that, you can verify, but it's an optional. Then after you need to add information about your Terraform, because Terraform is not present, don't know, for Linux. Terraform is a new third-party tool. That's the reason you need to have the information, and you need to update your packages, and you need to install your Terraform. Okay, let me check Terraform was installed or not. Okay, Terraform was installed successfully. Now I have a Terraform in this server. Okay, using this server I want to communicate right to this AWS. I want to create this S3 bucket. How it is possible? From this server I want to communicate to this S3 bucket, and I want to create a S3 bucket. First you need to have a permissions to execute and to create. Nothing but you need to log in into your AWS account. So in order to log in into your AWS account, you will be having a IAM, right? Manage access to AWS resources. So what I will do, I will go to IAM. Okay, go to users. Okay, I will go to a user called as, you can create your new user. I will go to a user called as Devops easy. So with which has administrator access, I will go to security credentials. So there is an access key. So I will just deactivate this access key. So delete. Okay, just create access key. For CLI command line I want to use, I understand. Next, create access key. Okay, this is my access key, this is my secret key, and I can download that Excel file as well. Okay, before that I want to install AWS CLI. If you don't know how to install AWS CLI, just search AWS CLI installation. You will get the official website of AWS. I told you right from day one I will start practical. I don't want to waste your time with this. Okay, everyone will discuss theory part. Theory is not important, practical is important. Let me do, just I will copy this. Okay, it might not work. So first I need to install unzip software. Sudo apt install unzip. Okay, unzip software will not be present. Nothing but in Windows how you will archive, right? If you want to do any folder, extract folder, what you will do, you will just go and right click, right, compress or add, whatever you will do, right, archive. Same thing here, unzip. Okay, enter. Now AWS --- version, right? AWS CLI is working. What I need to do, I need to do AWS configure. Okay, what is the access key? Just to copy from where you have created. This is the access key. Enter. What is the secret access key? Okay. Okay, what is the default region? So I will go to my S3 bucket. On which region you want to create, you need to be careful. I am on the AP South one. Okay, I will give AP South 1. Okay, the default output format you can give anything. I will just enter. Okay, AWS configuration was done. So ls, so I will create a new folder called as mkdir demo. Okay, I will go inside this folder. So to create a folder in Linux, you can use mkdir, make directory. If you go inside that folder, you need to use cd, nothing but change directory. Okay, here I will create a new file called as main.tf. okay, I don't know what is this. First, what I told you need to define the provider, right? Just Google it if you don't know. Terraform AWS provider. Okay, you will get a official documentation. Just click. AWS provider. Okay, so just to copy this, blindly copy this provider region. Okay, I will copy this, simply paste. My region will be AP South 1. Okay, provider is AWS. What is this region? We will discuss tomorrow. Okay, AP South 1. Okay, so my provider was ready. Now what I want to create? Terraform S3 bucket. Okay, I will just open link in new tab. You should not try to by heart or remember this. You need to copy paste. Okay, resource. Okay, copy this. Like this you need to learn. Then after practicing, right, you will get to know. So my bucket name will be my test bucket. Let me give Stephen. Okay, and your bucket name will be should be Stephen, sorry, unique. Okay, if you want to add any ACLs, you can do that. So now I told you, right, everything was updated in the repository, right? If I go to my organizations, if you want to check today class notes, right, go to repositories, go to click on Terraform. Okay, if you go to Terraform day 1, okay, you can see whatever I have explained, every screenshot with matter, everything was updated. So how to install Terraform also you can find it out. For Mac user, if you have a Mac laptop, this is the command. If you have a Windows laptop, this is the command. Okay, so how to write a Terraform configuration file? Provider, name of your provider, right? If you want to create any resource type, resource name. So if you want to create a S3 bucket, provider AWS S3 bucket. Okay, and you can give a tags to your buckets as well. So shall we create this? So how I can able to know whatever the code I have written, it is correct or not? Just use Terraform. First step you need to do is init. Okay, let me do. Okay, Terraform init. So it will download the provider plugins. So whatever I given provider AWS, right, from internet, it will download the provider related to that. Okay, ls-la. So if you see, a .terraform folder was created. If I go inside this .terraform ls, there is a provider, right? Cd, let me do tree, tree. So it is telling you to install tree. Let me install tree. Let me show you what inside this .terraform folder was there. Okay, it will not. I will use sudo. Okay, tree. So if you see inside the providers, there is a registry.terraform.io, there is a Archicop, inside that Archicop there is a AWS and the provider version, right, AWS provider. So by using this provider it will communicate. I told you, right, in the backend how Terraform will communicate. Using this provider it will communicate. Okay, I will go back. So it is a hidden folder. .terraform is a hidden folder. Whenever you ls, you will not get. ls-la will show you the hidden files as well. Okay, and it will download some log file as well. What is this log? Don't worry, we will discuss. Okay, what are the code I have written? I need to validate it. Terraform validate. So it will check what are the code you have written. Success, the configuration is valid. So whatever the configuration I have written, it was correct. Because did I done anything? No, right? I just copy pasted from internet. So obviously I have copied from official documentations. It will not get any error. Okay. Terraform apply. So what it will give in the plan? It will create a S3 bucket. Right, with tags dev my bucket. Okay, what is my bucket name? My tf test bucket Stephen. Enter a value, only yes will be accepted. Okay, I will give yes. I will go to my yes, apply complete, bucket was created. Shall we check whether my bucket was created or not? Okay, shall I reload this? Yes, my tf test bucket Stephen created or not. So which is easy, creating manually easy or creating using code? It is easy. Using manually it is taking time, right? You need to enter every value, right? Once you write the code, I can give this code to my friend. Even if he execute, you will easily simply create the bucket, right? If I execute again, Terraform apply, I told you, right, Terraform is an idempotent. So you refreshing state, no changes, your infrastructure matches the configuration. Terraform has compared your real infrastructure against your configuration and found no difference, so no changes are needed. So in the backend, what is it is refreshing the state. So if you see there is a terraform.tf state was created, what is this tf state we will discuss. So whatever you create, every infrastructure, every will be stored in this tf state file. Okay, even if I apply again or 1000 times, it will give me the same output. Yes, now you got it right, how to create a S3 bucket in AWS using Terraform and using manually. Okay, that is for today. Let me stop the recording.